Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Just Jump In live stream. Happy Friday to all. If you're out there, let me know. Say hi, and let me know you can hear me as well. Hope everybody's having a good week. And who do we have? Who said hi already? Brad from Willow Creek. Welcome. Mom, hi. How are you? Welcome in. Let's try that again. So now you can see my camera's working now. Okay, well, welcome everybody again. Feeling quite a bit better. Hopefully, I don't cough through this whole thing. That's pretty much gone away. Have my energy back and everything, and did a little bit of work this week. But not a whole lot. I did a different project this week to get my mojo back. What have I worked on? Let's see here. So as you can see, I'm working on more of passenger cars. I did some work, some other work as well. But what I started with as a anniversary gift, Gopher Girl. I don't know if she hasn't said hello, so she may not be in here yet. But got me this gigantic book. No, she didn't get me the book. She got me the Rebuild the Galaxy Millennium Falcon and my favorite Darth Jar Jar, as you can see here. And this is just the instruction book that had many, many pages. Had over 300 pages to get this done, and it came out really well. It took somewhere in the realm of 10 hours to complete. In like 2 sessions, I did it in. So really neat. So I appreciate Gopher Girl for getting that for me for anniversary. And so that's what I started off working on to get me kind of moving again after this bronchitis. We had an event. The Twin Cities division had an event last weekend, the trunk sale, and I actually don't know how it went. I was not in good enough shape to attend that, and then unfortunately, I still wasn't quite in good enough shape to attend our division meeting that happened on Tuesday night. So I'm hoping some folks in here will be able to give me an update on that. Because I don't know what happened at this point. But hopefully some good stuff, and hopefully everybody enjoyed getting together. So once again, give a shout out if you're out there, say hi. Even if you're going to lurk in the background, it's just nice to know who's checking in with me. There were 2 model railroading projects I did work on, though, this week, and that will continue. So again, that was, here are some more of the passenger cars for the New Jersey Transit. And let's focus in a little bit. So I did some printing to get these started again. And so I have for each car, I have my little, their little supply things in here and all the pieces that I printed out that I'm getting glued. The most annoying part is gluing the cross beams in, as you can see here and here and here and here here they don't, like, even when they're dried out, they come apart pretty easy. Hey, Mike, welcome in. Nice to see you. Oh, there's Gopher Girl. I gave you a shout out, Gopher Girl, and you weren't online. But I mentioned what I worked on this week. I started, as I was getting better, started with the Rebuild the Galaxy Millennium Falcon Lego set that she got me. So thank you for that. And then, again, just tedious to glue these in. And I use, and I think I've showed this before, but I use from Bob Smith Industries this Super Gold orderless. It's got a kind of a shine here, but orderless CA, because I was having a reaction to at least the Gorilla Glue CA. I haven't tried to work with others. This takes a little bit longer to dry. So I bought a large bottle of their Instaset, and because they have these small 2-ounce bottles, that's a spray, and when you spray, it gets all over. Like, you know, if I were to spray just this corner here, it would spray like this whole area. And it does kind of, if it's thick enough, it'll leave a film. So you didn't want that. And so I went to these dollar store bottles. And so I have the Instaset in here, and I can get a drop out of that there. And so I would go along, glue these in, put the Instaset on, glue the next ones in, put the Instaset on. These air tanks, or these tanks, what I would do next time. Hey, Randy, welcome in. Nice to see you. For these tanks, they have a ring, a support ring around them. That's what hooks basically into the underbody. What I would do next time, and I think I did it on one of these, I sanded them down flat, but I would have that underside flat just for the gluing, so that the whole surface gets glued in. You probably won't be able to see it here, but this one, you can see through it here. And it's just glued at those tiny little edges, where this one was sanded down a bit and is glued all the way across, except for there's a little bit of a gap in there. But I would do that next time. And then some of these other parts are all, again, 3D printed, so I had them ready to go. There are some little greeblies in, there we go. There are some little greeblies in here that I added for just to have an effect on the inside there. I don't think I added anything to this one yet. No, I didn't add anything to that one. So other than that, this is 3D printed. The other thing I did was I filled in these bolsters, because the holes in these bolsters were too big. So I filled them in. I melted in some styrene and drilled some holes in them. I may have to reinforce those when I was working with them, and you have to let these dry for 24 or 48 hours. They have to be really dry, because they'll be too mushy if when you're trying to melt down any amount of styrene like that, it's going to remain mushy for a while, so you have to make sure it dries. So I did that. So these are moving along. And then once I get these done and painted, like I did the other one, I'll move on to the shell. But I got this going at least, and then I have to reglue those pieces and then finish adding all of the other parts. And again, my guide was from the article. I photocopied this from the article, then blew it up so that it actually fit the actual size of this. So that's how I got, how I knew where to put the cross braces and then the other parts in. So that's what I worked on towards the AP mostly. I'm continuing to work on the private car here. I still haven't decided if I wanted to go nuts and grind this down with a rotary tool. But basically that's what I would have to do. And it's mainly this one that seems to be the problem with the roof. And then I need to paint the roof where I put the putty in. Once all that's done, I have holes in the car over here, and I've put brass tube on the wheels as pickups from the track, and I'll solder the wires through the holes onto the wheels to get the pickup, and these will roll freely with the wire hanging soldered in place. Unfortunately, this bolster broke off from handling, so I have to get that back on, but that should be no big deal. It's the bolster that came off and just came unglued because it's screwed in as it should be. And then the other thing I did poorly, but I finally got almost in line a whole the name of the car on here. It's still shiny. I haven't dull coated or anything. I'm gonna put some more Microsol. Microsol is the red one from Microscale, and this is the stuff that softens that up. I ran into a problem where it bubbled up at these rivets. And you can see the reflection here. That's from it bubbling up. So I poked a hole in. I added some Microsol, but I'm making sure it completely dries. I'll put another coat on to see if we can get it done. Also by the FI over here. And then this is a kind of a complete mess on the end here where there's a wrinkle in there that I can't get out. But what I did, again, instead of doing the whole thing, I cut it between the N and the F here. And so I did 2 decals. And I really tried not to over-engineer it and touch it too much. And so it's a semblance of something. It's not high quality. It's okay. Hopefully with more treatment with the Microsol, it'll soften that up a little bit and adhere a little bit more. And then hopefully with dull coating it, it will hopefully take care of that. And I did not do the other side yet. I'm going to work on one side to a finish and then work on the other side. I still have 2 more decals essentially, or 2 more sets of numbers to put on for decals. And so that's where I am at with this car. But this is what I mainly worked on, was the decal there. So more work on that to come. What's everybody else working on this weekend? Did I bring it in here? There's a. I didn't bring it in here, so never mind. All right. So really, that's, oh, look at that. I just moved this and another one of those fell off. They're so annoying. All right. Let's see what we got here. So anyway, what's everybody else working on this weekend? You know, how's the layout coming, Mike? Are you have you got any movement on the cabin layout? So, that's interesting. Brad, I haven't seen people talk about doing blue box kits. I really haven't. Maybe I don't look closely enough at train shows or something, but the blue box cars that I've gotten all seem to be put together. I haven't seen any that are that are kits, but everybody's putting together these kits. To me, I would love to do the kits too. It just adds a little bit extra to the fun to me, other than buying ready to run. And so I'll have to look for actual kits. I like the AccuRail kits. The cars are really nice. There aren't a lot of steps that you need to take with them. So it kind of gives you kind of gives you a taste of everything. So yeah, I forget which somebody. I'm just making a mess here. Somebody had talked about sanding, and I don't know if they were saying which types of filament, and I don't know, they didn't, and I don't watch much on the resin, but most say that they have trouble with sanding 3D printed items because the plastic doesn't sand very well. But that sounds like that might be your pain that you're going through. So, Randy, what is a clay slurry tank car used for? Is is it just moving clay around? Or is that a byproduct that the tank car brings away from a facility? Ah, so do you have an on-site manager, Mike, for the property, or do you have to do that all yourself? Okay, that was a very weird sound. I don't know where that came from. Um, Randy, it was from. Okay, so for some reason on my, sorry about the movement here, on the iPad is what I use for the camera, and it things are popping up, and I don't know why. Um, I think I would have if I was more into the hobby when I was in N scale, Randy. I probably would say the same. I would love to have more kits. Um, there are um, there are kits out there, but they're basically the shell, the underbody, and the wheels. So I agree. I would have liked to see more of that. So Randy, that means that that clay slurry that's being brought in to create the paper, or is that being pulled out of the? Ah, right, Mike, you're doing it all yourself. So, are you staying at the house there while you're fixing it up? Randy, I wonder what an in-scale catalog would look like. You think you could put together some uh, in-scale catalogs? Even the big catalogs would be tiny. Also, I showed you these. I got a set of tweezers from Michaels when they're on sale. Plus, I had coupons and everything. And it was a really good deal. So far, I really like these. Um, Other than I get a lot of glue on them, I'm really happy with these so far. Let's see what I can get. This going here. So this one was there. Put this down. So this takes a little longer. They say 10 to 20 seconds. So I'm still going to hold it in place. For like 20 seconds. But I'm also still going to, for extra security, again, I'm going to use the Instacure. So we'll just put just a drop is needed. And I'll put some there and some there. And I'll still let it dry, but it gets solid quick on there. And I have this raised up a little bit because it'll allow wire to still go underneath, conduit wire to go underneath, which I'll use brass wire for that. And I don't know if we're going to be able to. You can kind of see here. So when I printed these, I printed the holes um, large enough for the wire to feed through. Um, the other thing that's nice about this CA is I apparently this had some on it, or I dripped some. Oh, I know I put this in there. See, it doesn't dry right away. Um, and I can actually wash that off. So I'm not worried about it sticking. So another reason I like working with this particular CA. I wish I wasn't allergic to it or having reactions to the other one. You don't want to get the Instaset onto the glue on your hand, and ask me how I know. Okay, I see, Randy. That's dedication, Mike. All the power to you for doing that drive. I know you're retired and everything, but still, it's got to be a pain. The other thing I'm doing I guess in the background, you would say, there's about 5 minutes left on it, is I decided to pull somebody else's design through Onshape, the CAD program I use. If you don't pay for it, all your work is public. So people can pull that up, download it, and use the stuff, which, I don't care. I'm not selling my stuff. So if somebody really wants it, then they can have it. But so I checked other people's work out, and so I'm doing a building front. I'm printing a building front, so I'm just curious how it came out. Now, when I look at it on the build plate, it looks N scale, not HO scale, but I could be totally wrong on that. So we'll see. On that. Getting this right drives me nuts because it still dries quick, just not as quick, and it's but and I by all means do not get it perfectly right, but hopefully it looks just about right and what we need. Now, it's not obviously not going to look like that. It's going to be all painted with Panzer Dark Gray, which is my favorite color for the underbody, so it's a little bit lighter than black. Oh, that would be nice if you can get a good price for the house, if it's the right market for it. So this is Vallejo's Model Air Panzer Dark Gray. That is terribly out of focus. So I apologize for that. Let's see if we can get that. There we go. It's 71.056 Panzer Dark Gray. And I don't know if it's going to be if you can tell on there. You can tell from the shine a little bit. It's definitely not black. But the whole underside will be painted that way. And I did that with the cab car. I did that with the private car. That's looks black, but it's Panzer Dark Gray. So it'll look similar. But that's my favorite paint. I have a million paint bottles that I barely touch. This one, I think this is my 4th or 5th bottle of this. To me, it looks great for like a girder bridge. Although some of the girder bridges, they could be iron or something, so they may be greener or something like that. But that one, I really like that one. So we need to do this guy. Yeah. Well, Mike, it was nice to see you in here. You stay safe and healthy as well. Appreciate you stopping in. Good luck with getting that house rented or sold. and have a great weekend. The other thing I will use to try and square this up is something like this. Try and make sure I get it as square as possible. And that is, if this is straight, then that will work. There we go. And now the thing with this is, now you really got to leave it and don't touch it, and make sure those dries for 24 hours before you go putting other stuff on. And I have a heavy-handed way of handling things, so I'm prone to break those off even when they're on solid. So be gentle with them is the moral of the story. But I have like 4 of them broke off here that I'll have to get back on. So, okay, I'm going to step away just for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. So I wanted to show you another thing I did print. So there's some of these companies will give you free stuff and hope that you buy stuff. So it's a company that does 3D prints for kind of wargaming and stuff. And so they offered a free file, and every so often they offer a free file. And I watch a lot of videos on painting figures and painting wargaming figures and stuff. Their techniques are phenomenal. So I tried this one. It's rather big. I don't know what scale it would be, but here's the base, and here's the figure. And I was curious because it was really designed for with the supports for resin printing, but I was just curious how it would come out for with filament printing. And the camera's not going to do this justice at all. But the putting the different supports on for the filament printing had no effect on it. It did very well. This really printed really nicely. I used the smallest nozzle I have, and so there are layer lines throughout, and I think that'll come out for a bit of it, quite a bit of it in the painting, especially if I'm going to use thin shades and things like that. But I've always wanted to try and be like these figure painters that do all this stuff, and it'll get glued on to here. But it came out extraordinarily well. I used the smallest nozzle, and didn't take too long. I think it was this one was like a 4.5 hour print, and this one was like an hour and 15 minutes. And so that'll be a fun side project to print. Now, this is what I printed, and this feels like it's a little small, and I don't have anything to put it next to. But somebody had created this front for like a Mel's Diner. And you can see the supports didn't work in here. It got all stringy, so that's probably my settings. And this got stringy on here and was supposed to have one support. But the good thing is this comes off, and I can get in and get those off, and I can clean that up a little bit. These will have to pull these supports out. So just testing this, just testing somebody else's work on this one. But definitely have some issues that I'll need to clean up in the settings. Now, from a overall standpoint, it actually is a decent print. I think that it just strikes me as a little small. But again, I don't have anything here, I don't think, to compare it to. Like not even a figure. And it doesn't help that the other thing I have is gigantic, but this would just be like a storefront. So let's get the other tools out here. Let's get these pliers out. And so you just need to remove the support. So no matter what kind of 3D printing you're doing, whether it's resin or filament like this, you're going to have supports for anything that's not going to be on the build plate. There we go. That's what I want to get out of there. So then look, that comes out pretty nice and clean. It'd be nice if there was more definition in the door, but that's a small thing. That came right off, and then that doorway looks fine except for this stringiness, and so we'll just have to remove the stringiness. So if I really was going to use this, I would probably print this again, messing with the settings to get rid of the stringiness that's coming up here, because this should have been all supports in here, and these little tree supports. And so I should have been able to pull this all up as is. So it'll just be a little bit of annoying cleaning. Not too bad. These are pretty thin support window slots in here. That would be 9 inches. So let's see. So 228.6 millimeters would be 9 inches. I could. My build plate's 256 by 256. So yes, I could do that. So something tells me, Mom, that you've got a project now for me. Did you see does somebody have a storefront that they made or is this going to be a design and print? Because this, even for this small little thing, that's not an easy thing to design. But yes, I should be able to do that for a storefront that would be 9 inches in length or height or width, because my build plate's 256 by 256, and then it's 250, and then it'll print up to 256 millimeters. And so it should be able to handle that. Yeah. So if anybody kind of jumped on midstream, make sure you say hi. Tell me you're in here. If you were at the trunk sale or at the meeting, let me know how it went. There is according to Gopher Girl, there's a train show this weekend at the state fairgrounds. This tomorrow. So that'll be my first model railroading outing since being sick, I think. Got to get up bright and early for that and figure out how to get across the Twin Cities with all their construction going on. Now, if you couldn't see into this building, or if you can't see into this building, I wouldn't normally have to worry about all this extra stuff on here. Not that I'm going to use this, but I would just be cleaning this up anyway. Yep, that would be a good scene. You could do an antique shop with furniture, or you could do a mid-century modern furniture store, like our cousins who have the furniture store, or your cousins or dad's cousins. I can't remember who it was. But you could do, you could do something, a little quaint thing like that. You'll certainly would want big bay windows so that you could feature the furniture on the inside. But that would be kind of a neat. That would be kind of a neat setup if I'll take a look to see what's out there and see if I can find something, because not sure how good I would be designing something like this as a storefront like that, but I could even upscale something like this technically. So I probably could do that. I could try upscaling this and seeing what that would look like. Because I don't think and you could even cut out, like, if you wanted a big window here, instead of having this in here, you could cut this piece out here, this piece out here, give you a bigger bay window and something like that. So let me see what I can do. Let me see what I can do with the design that this person put together. I should be able to scale it up and down. I won't be able to alter the design itself, but I certainly could scale it up and down. So anyway, so that came out pretty decent. That was about an hour and 15 minutes of build. So where is the Perry's Hobbies will be there, like they always are. So let's see, where did that? It's in the Twin Cities Facebook group as well. Let's see if we can do that. Let's see. That's a long link, that one, but you can check to see if that one works. Let's see. Apparently, what did I do there? I don't know what I did there. So that's the Facebook link out to the hobby show and sale. So for this one, I always go and line up early in the morning for this show and sale, and because it's not huge, but I probably spend a good 2 hours where I'll walk around. I always walk around the perimeter, and then I walk the aisles, and then I'll go back, do it a second time, and then I'll take note of things that interest me, and I'll go back again. Okay, I don't know why this thing. Let's see if we can delete that comment. There's too many here. I don't know why. I must have had a trigger finger. So I do that, and for the most part, I find stuff mostly from people that are vendors that are not regular vendors. We have a bunch of regular vendors that are at every show in the area, like Perry's Hobbies that I mentioned. And there's even one guy who has said he's been retiring, so he's had 50% off everything for, I don't know, 3 years. So either he hasn't retired yet, or he's just trying to get rid of everything. And so you can find deals. I found a very good working switcher that should have been $150 used. The guy was getting rid of them, and I was down to my last little bit of money, and he's getting rid of them. He had 2 of them, and they were $45 each. And I had to take into consideration that it was DC, and I was going to put a decoder in, so it was going to cost me another $30 or so. So I spent $45 at the show for the engine, and then $30 on a decoder, and it's been a faithful runner for $75. It's been insane. So you can find stuff. I also most often come away with cheap kits to build, and loose stuff. Like, I think the last one I spent a couple dollars at a booth and got like stirrups, like just, little packets of stirrups and parts and things. I've gotten, styrene and things like that on the cheap. Those are the things I look for. I do look around and see if I can find anything that's going to be specifically for my eastern layout in the northeast quarter, but I just don't find anything out here. It's hard enough to find anything out east. So anyway, so it's worth going. By the time I'm ready to leave, most of the Twin Cities guys are showing up and hobnobbing and talking, and I'll say hello and hang out for a little bit, but by then I'm pretty wiped and end up leaving by then. And usually I get pretty jazzed and want to work on stuff anyway. So I always seem to want to get home and work on stuff. But yeah, I'm one of those guys that I'll get online early in the morning and I'll rush in with everybody because I got to find that deal that I never find. And then it gives me the afternoon if Gopher Girl and I are going to do something, make sure I'm back since she's a night owl. Basically, I'm getting up, she's going to bed. And then so it gives me the opportunity to get out there and do my thing for a while and get back and have lunch. Gopher Girl, do we have is there a Gopher football game tomorrow? Or they have a bye yet or anything? I haven't looked myself to see if they were scheduled to play. So the Grand Riri going out of business fail. Exactly. Yeah, it's a 9 p.m. game. Oh, I'm going to have to stay up I'm going to struggle to stay up for that then. But yeah, Randy, the thing that attracts me most right now to model railroading is building stuff. So I definitely will, especially if I can get stuff cheap, I'll do that. I haven't found, well, that's not true. I did get at the last train show, I did find somebody randomly had one of the Walder's Horizon cars for Long Island Railroad, which again had the same type of cars as New Jersey Transit, and but had some slight differences in their livery. And so he had it at his table, and I went back and he had just one. So I don't know where he got it from. But I grabbed a hold of that, and that was like, it was like new in box. I haven't really gotten any rolling stock to really upcycle. That's what they have most at these shows is people have just boxes and boxes of rolling stock. And I think, again, going back to it, I think I'd rather have a kit than a ready to run type of thing. That would be much more fun to me. But the other thing is I am trying to stay focused and work on stuff that's AP related towards this layout. Although I have all these side projects, laying around, so I don't focus that well. But yeah, I think another train show, I got two. I haven't touched. They're in their blue bin, but I got two kits on the cheap there too. I think for like $20. That would have been, Walder's kit. Well, that would have probably been $45 or something like that, and another kit. So definitely have things I can find, and I have a little bit of spending cash available. So I'll take a look. I'll do the walk around that I always do. Anyway, so this actually not too bad. So I can do that. So what I'll do with is I'll go back into the file and I'll mess with it and see if I can upscale it to the 9 inches, and see if we can get that printed and see how that comes out. That will certainly take a lot longer than this did. I don't know if it scales to 9 times as long, but yeah, this just looks a little small for some reason to me. I don't know why. All right, so I am going to continue gluing these little guys on. I'm sure that's probably pretty boring to most people, but this is the tedious part of when you're doing something. There's always a tedious part, and always parts that we want to avoid and everything, but got to get it done. So I'll work on that. Do the train show this weekend and watch a little college football, apparently very late at night. So again, I'll have to try and stay up for that. We'll see how that goes. I'm sure Gopher Girl will have a good time throwing things at me to keep me awake during the game. But I hope that everybody has a fantastic weekend and just jumps in and tries something new. Again, appreciate everybody coming in. All of those things, hit the like or smash the like or whatever it is. But mostly have a great weekend. Talk to you later, everybody.